Hello, my name is Marian Helm, and today I'm here to talk to you about Contagious, Why Things Catch On by Jonah Berger. This is a New York Times bestseller and is a very interesting book. I found it to be. I think anyone who is looking to try and sell a product, learn more about the business aspect of marketing and why things sell, really needs to take a look at this book. It goes through why certain things catch on that you really wouldn't expect to catch on. Jonah Berger describes it as an acronym known as STEPS, which he goes into detail about chapter by chapter to talk about social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories. With social currency, Jonah Berger goes into detail and describes it as people share things mostly to make themselves look good. He goes into statistics about 40% of people who engage in conversation with people talk about themselves usually. He describes a good impression as social currency. People like to seem not so much better among their peers, but a lot more interesting, like they have a lot more to talk about and engage with. Like Jonah Berger talks about, people like to make themselves look good among people their own age. He goes into interesting details about inner remarkability, of leverage game mechanics, making people feel like insiders. He talks about this one restaurant, I believe out in New York. It's called Please Do Not Tell. It's very, very low key. There's really no advertisements or anything from it, but people know about this place due to word of mouth, because people just like to talk about themselves, like to be like, I went to this place and no one knows about, and that's how business is generated for Please Do Not Tell. This place makes it seem very elite because not many people know about it, and people who do know how difficult it is even just to get a reservation. So this place generates by word of mouth and making people feel like they know something other people don't know about, which is really a genius idea. Jonah Berger then goes in to talk about triggers, which he describes what is at the top of your mind also means tip of your tongue. He uses an example of Kit Kat. People would, with the advertisements and the commercials of Kit Kat, time to take a break, need a Kit Kat break offer. Every time someone thought of a break, they would most likely go and buy a Kit Kat bar. If they were looking for a candy, they did link it with coffee, because when you take a break, usually people who are on break like to drink coffee, wake themselves up a bit, feel rejuvenated, and Kit Kat became a part of that, something that people associated with taking a break, just due to the marketing and advertisements of the candy. Jonah Berger does explain how triggers do have short time spans and the action for them must be taken immediately, and you need to watch out for the time lapse. Triggers do include people who talk about cheesesteaks. A lot of people think of Philadelphia because Philadelphia here, people associate to have the best cheesesteaks in the world, which evidently is true. People relate Halloween with orange and black. A lot more colors of the orange and black, primarily orange around Halloween time, are sold predominantly more. There are statistics seeing things of those colors do have a rise in sales during Halloween time. People also associate breakfast with what cereal? Cheerios, because you start your morning off with a cheery morning, Cheerios, how Cheerios would market themselves. So social currency gets people talking, but triggers keep people talking. It keeps these things on their mind. Jonah Berger then goes in to talk about emotion. When people care, they share. They like to share useful information, interesting information, inspiring, personal, pleasant, positive, anything really that gets them feeling some sort of. People share positive and negative information, but they also talk about activation or arousal of information, things that, arouse their emotions. Arousal is really a state of activation and readiness for action. Psychological arousals motivates flight. These are responses. They help organisms catch food or flee from predators. It kind of activates a type of fire inside of somebody. Jonah Berger goes on to say how anger and anxiety are considered high levels of arousal. When people are inspired, they really just have this strong feeling that they need to share it with everybody. So products that can inflict a type of emotion on people like high arousal. Intentionally, they do sell better. It's something that makes somebody feel a certain way, especially if it gives them a good feeling. These products do tend to sell more because if people can relate to it and get a good feeling out of it, they're going to want to buy it. Berger goes on to talk about the following chapter about public, which is also considered public visibility. If something is built to show, it will grow. Jonah Berger uses the whole phrase monkey see, monkey do. If you make things more observable, it makes it easier for people to imitate things, which really makes things more popular. If someone can watch someone do something, and it's something they know they can do, and it's something they want to do, it just makes it easier for them, makes a product more likable. The more likable the product, the more easier it is to use, the better chances it has of selling, the more chances it has of it being popular. It's a very genius idea, but very kind of just like obvious. Why would you make something that's hard to use, something people can't understand? The easier it is, just easier for everyone in general. Next, the author goes on to talk about practical value. It's pretty much just news that you can use, and it's easiest one to apply to the aspects of marketing and selling and advertising. People love to pass on practical information, useful information, news other people can use. Like people like to talk about themselves, make themselves look good. They like to pass on information that's useful to other people, making them seem like a resource, like a resourceful resource, a useful resource, however you want to put that, because useful things are important and people don't just value practical information, they share it. Every little bit of information they get, they pass it on. And just, again, a continuous train of word of mouth. Word of mouth is probably the biggest key factor in marketing, in sales promotion, and advertising, just to get things to sell. Word of mouth is the big unnoted player in the game. Offering practical value for something, it makes things contagious. The more useful it is, the more people hear about it and how useful it is, the more it entices people to want to buy something, to want to use it, to want to try it out for themselves. Sharing practical value content is just a day-to-day, daily, modern-day basis. People do it every day, even without realizing it, just like word of mouth. Passing along useful information strengthens social bonds and just keeps people talking, especially talking about a product. Jonah Berger really goes on just to describe it as sharing is caring. And I mean, I know I say that a lot. I'm sure everyone has said that at least one point or another in their lives. And finally, Jonah Berger goes on to talk about stories, information that travels under the idle chatter. I'm sure everyone has had a story they've told that may have not necessarily been their own story. It could have been the story someone else told them, or someone told a person that told another person. It just travels along because stories just pass on. I mean, we've heard generation after generation family stories. So these stories also can apply to sales and marketing and products. A story about how a great customer experience someone has, or how a product changed their life. You want to send your message, you want to send your story in a message, so people really can't separate the two of them. They think about this product, the message of the product. They'll think maybe about a story they heard, or the story that came along with the promotion and the advertising of such product. Most of the time, people don't think of things in terms as information. They really see it in terms of narratives, something they can relate to, something that they can find could easily happen to them. So really, if someone's telling a story about a certain product, how it changed their life, a certain customer service experience they had, information really comes along the way. Someone could talk about Ford and how they have the greatest customer service in the world, things that they did for their customers, and someone who has been a Honda fan their whole life really didn't know this about Ford and the great things that they do. They learn more information. Maybe next time they're going to buy a car, they won't necessarily look at Honda, they might go to a Ford dealership, just for an example. Information just travels and travels. My friend told me this about this place, such and such. So really telling stories about a product, again, considering word of mouth, really helps generate information and everything, and really helps promote a product. So these key steps, these 6 really rules to follow by, really do affect how you promote a product, how you sell a product, how well a product sells, and really can help you if this is something you're looking to do. If you're trying to sell a product, promote a business, really take a look into these. I mean, social currency, does talking about your product or idea, does this make other people look good? Will this make them feel like they're part of something and something they want to share? Because they're generating word of mouth about your product. They like it so much, they're not even getting paid to talk about it, and they don't realize that they're really marketing and promoting your product. Triggers, just consider the context, what cues people to make them think about certain things, emotions, focus on feelings, how you can get your customers and consumers to feel a certain way and generate emotions. Public visibility, does your product or idea, does it advertise itself? If it advertises itself, you're already good to go. It's gonna pretty much do the promoting for you. Practical value, does talking about your product or idea, does it help other people? Can it help other people? How useful is it? And stories, is your product or idea is embedded in a broader narrative like that people will want to share. Public visibility, like I said, it advertises itself. I'm just here going back over, making sure I'm covering everything. It's just really how I want to say, kind of common knowledge, but you really want to think of it. All these keynotes, all this information really will help you sell your product. And if you have not read this book, I really encourage you to read it. It honestly is a life-changing book. So thank you for your opportunity, and letting me share this with you today. I look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Thanks.